I don't even know where to even start with this team, man. Genuinely have no idea. I mean, this is almost a masterpiece in just what I can only call the most obvious tank job. Quite possibly the greatest tank in 5 years of football. There is no possible way that there was an actual effort made in this game by the Dolphins. Let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room here. Tua Tagovailoa. Oh my goodness. 12 of 23. 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You barely hit 100 yards. And somehow, some way, 3 interceptions is what came out of this game. How? At least Dylan Gabriel, he passed for 116 yards. He wasn't particularly great, but he didn't turn the ball over 3 times. I mean, we are talking about 2 QBs with the exact same archetype. Let's keep it a buck here. It's not just because they're both small, undersized. They're both from that Hawaiian descent, I believe. I'm not sure. Forgive me if I'm wrong there. But somehow, some way, Tua Tagovailoa found a way to get outplayed unbelievably by a third-round rookie QB. Tua was the veteran in this game. And somehow, some way, he looked like the third-round rookie. I cannot believe this. And CBS 4's Kim Bokamper said, maybe the worst game I've ever seen by a QB in the National Football League. Can you find a worse one? Can you find a worse game all year long other than Tua's Week 1 performance? Can you find a single other? Oh my goodness. This is rock bottom. This has to be rock bottom. This has to be the lowest we go. There's no way it can get worse. Losing to one of the worst organizations in football, 31-6, has to be rock bottom. No other way to put it. And unlike last week, he's not throwing everybody under the bus. Tua's self-critical. I'm not proud of my play. How I've gone about things this year, I've got to be a lot better. Let me tell you, buddy, I think your time's up anyway. Your time's up. We gave you the time. We gave you the weapons. We didn't give you the line. Sorry about that. That's on Chris Greer. He also should be fired. But for you to put out this kind of performance, for you to put out this kind of display of quarterback play in the National Football League, it's unacceptable and it cannot be tolerated. This is the same franchise that once had Dan Marino. And you are supposedly the second best QB in the franchise's history. Supposedly. You know, to begin this game, I call it the Cheek Bowl because, I mean, it's the battle of just 2 teams that are massively terrible and are cheeks to the highest degree. And it turns out that this wasn't the Cheek Bowl because one team actually showed up and actually performed like they were in the Cheek Bowl, and the other team had the 2000 Ravens defense, I guess, somehow. Steve Ross gets fired now, right? Like not Stephen Ross. If only we could fire the owner, right? If only we could fire the owner. Nah, but Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are like obviously fired, right? Like they're obvious. There's no way Stephen Ross in his right mind can possibly look at what he just saw today and think to himself, let's give it another week. You know what I mean? Just, things, the performance like these happen. Blow it up. Just blow it up. Oh, by the way, Waddle got hurt in this game. I didn't even mention that. Yeah, Ira, I asked the same exact question. Why was Waddle even in the game? Why was he in the game? Felt like sabotage, I'll be honest. Complete sabotage. The next step has to be to fire everybody, obviously. We're like a third into the season. And the season's over. Unbelievably over. But the fact that we're not even halfway through the season and it is over, think about what the expectations were in that building to start the year. The expectations from the GM, from the head coach to the roster was we can compete for a playoff spot. That was the expectation. They talked about culture change. They talked about playing physical. They've talked about not being soft. And somehow, some way, this team not only doubled down on being the softest team in football, but we are the worst team in football. The worst. And we came into the year with expectations to make the playoffs. That you can't make that up. What's funny is that, like, I've been a big Tua fan for so long, bro. I literally have a Tua Funko Pop, bro. Like, I was a big fan of him, bro. I was. From high school, not from high school, from college on. I knew he had to have been the guy. And yet somehow, some way, it's obvious. If everything isn't perfect, the guy can't win. And I don't want a QB like that anymore. I want a QB that I can trust to go down the field and win us the game, even if the situation isn't perfect. But I don't know if we'll ever get it. I don't know if we're ever gonna get it, because let's be honest, we haven't had that since Marino. So what makes us think it's actually gonna happen now? I want to shout out to Von Achane because he actually had a solid game today. He actually did. 13 carries, 82 yards. I don't know how he had a solid game, even in spite the fact that this team was just terrible. And Quinn Ewers came into the game, and, I mean, he was fine, I guess. I mean, we had to bench Tua because he was so bad. Like, I mean, I wouldn't keep him in. That's for sure. I'm just tired, man. I'm tired. Like, this is an all-time low. And I don't know where to go from here, man. I really don't know where to go from here. Back to the drawing board with this franchise. We are now 1-6. We lose to the Browns 31-6. And I mean, if things aren't going to change tomorrow morning, if things don't change, if people aren't fired tomorrow, this isn't a serious franchise, guys. This is not a serious franchise if nobody's fired tomorrow. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you. Fins up. And I'll see you guys next time. Lale!